Hello, folks. Bear with while I just adjust the set. You do not need to adjust your set, for I am adjusting the set from this side of the wall.
We control the horizontal.
There we go. The set's adjusted. Hello, everybody. How are you?
No sound from Pirate. Bothered.
I mean, are we supposed to be hearing Pirate?
Do you want to hear him?
Nobody wants to hear me.
Yeah.
Harsh.
Oh, he's working now.
It's working.
Hello.
Bear with. It's all good. How is everybody? Come on. You all good?
Should we start with a bit more for than last week, if you remember? Last week,
You can do like the obnoxious DJ thing of like, chat, we can't hear you.
Yeah, you're on everybody now. I know you are.
Hey everybody,
Sound check.
Welcome back
Get
to
some
the
emotes in.
stream.
Come on, let's get some chat emotes. Emotes in chat, please, guys. Come on, spam those emotes. Let's see you.
It's a
Any
really
emote,
good
doesn't
new
matter.
emote, but we can't access it unless you do tier 2 sub.
Doesn't matter what emote it is. Let's see some
blame
emotes
Andy for
in
that.
chat, guys. If you can hear us.
I want my chat emote. I can't use it. That sucks.
They can hear us, so they can hear me anyway. I assume you can hear other people as well.
Look at him showing off with that one. See? But
How is it that he has an emote of you and you don't?
I don't know.
It's because he's tier 2 sub, and we haven't yet unlocked another. We haven't unlocked 3. We need more sub points, guys. If you haven't already subbed, we need more sub points so we can get Ange down to tier 1. We're on 21 sub points at the moment, so...
How many do we need then?
25, I think, is the next level, is it?
Oh, I just need 4 more. Oh, no, that sucks.
So it's either two tier level subs or people upgrading from a tier 2 sub to a... We only need it once. You only need to do it for 1 month. And then you can down it again. It's fine. Just as long as we get the points, hit that.
Actually, we're just not worth it.
No.
Yeah, we're good. We're only doing it because
we are worth it. And you know why we're worth it? Because if you know what we're doing in December, then you will see how worth it we are.
That is an absolute amazing segue. Ange, what are we doing in September?
Well, it's amazing. Actually, it is really, really, really busy in December. And we have got some really cool things happening. And we have some new DMs. Woo, woo, woo. So, which is we're all really excited about, and the old Pirate and Croy get to play and chill out for a bit, which is like, cause the last few months have been hard because for 3 years we've been playing campaigns and it's sort of just like ran, and then we decided to do this really mad thing and open this new channel and play all these one shots, and and the poor Mark and Croy have been working their little socks off to get all these one shots going. So, but December is looking awesome. So, of course, we have got next week, which we have the Monkey Pirates on Friday, ran by Trolls. And then we will have next week the first session on Saturday of Blades in the Dark, because tonight is session 0. So next week, yes. Pipe down, Mark. You do know these. We have this discussion at home, and you just forget about it. Maybe you listen to me. And then we'll go into December. No. Then Monday, November 30th, we have a chat session again. At the moment, we have Summer Pirate and Croy, and I think Pale and Keen are talking about signing up for that, but I'm not really sure. And that one is Sandbox versus scripted campaigns.
I think the topic may change. Yes.
It might change. Whatever. You can do whatever you want. You can discuss whatever you want, really. But these are just things that pop into my head, and we all know how great my head is. So whatever. And then December, drum roll, please. That wasn't a very good drum roll, was it? Right, Friday the 4th, we have show off. We have Casting the Runes, which is being run by Summer Pirate. And we have 1 space left in that if you'd like to join it. And then on Saturday the 5th, we have Mutants and Masterminds, which is being GM'd by our IMT, our Discord guru, and and we have a new player joining us on that one. So that'll be really cool. And then we have a Monday offline session of D&D, our beginner session. Then Friday the 11th, we have a new game, Carbon 2185. It's a one-shot called Urban Chrome, and that is being run by GM by our lovely Strain, and I think he's in the chat.
Yes.
So we're all really excited about that. So that's be cool. That filled up like so quick, so that's full. That's ready to go. And then we are starting. Well, actually, this will be the session 2, but I forgot to mention it. We are starting another session. I'll go back to that, which is being ran by our own in chat, Kildare. He is running a Saturday afternoon every bi-weekly D&D 5e session. He's not running it online. It's not being streamed. So if anyone wants to join, I think there's one space left on that, and that's Mysteries of the Black Claw. So another GM in the group. So yeah, we're really cool about that. And then Saturday the 12th. Guess who's back? We are back with D&D The Lost Returned. It's Ari will be back and Tanner will be back. Yay! So yeah, so me and Croy and Mark have got to sit down and do some serious talking about where we're going with that. But yeah, that will be returning on Saturday the 12th. So yes, and we have at the moment 2 new players which have signed up, which is half the face man over there. It's like just playing Chad at the moment. Lloyd and
sure what happened to Lloyd's chin. I seem to have cut it off entirely. Let me see if I can.
IMT, yeah, and we have 1 space on that. Yeah. Now, any of these on the start of the campaigns, we are asking that we are planning to run longer sessions, but not as long as we did in the past. So we originally said we were going to do like 8-week sessions, but what we've decided is to do a rolling rota and see how that works. So through January, February, we're going to have 1 week of Mutants on a Saturday, 1 week of Blades in the Dark on a Saturday, and 1 week of D&D. And if we had another game come in, campaign, we might put that in, but otherwise it'll be rolling on a like that. So that's how we're doing it. So we're going to keep. The reason why we're doing this is to keep the GMs fresh, able to keep not being tired all the time, so they can come up with new ideas and stuff like that. Friday the 18th, we have Josh running another session, and it's called Heckness Revelia. Is that right? Have I said that right? Heckness Revelia.
I'm not going to correct you. I'm just going to enjoy it.
Right, thanks. Anyways, again, as D&D 5e, and on one shot, we have, I think, have we 1 space on that? I think I'll have to double check that one, because some of these are filling up quicker than I can keep an eye on it. And then Saturday the 19th, we've got Blades in the Dark. That'll be the next session with the guys as we are here. Then from 21st of January the 1st, we are going offline. We are taking some time out to eat mince pies and drink whiskey and sherry, but we are still around. And if anybody who is established at streaming and established at GMing want to run a game via us, please contact us, because we have the setup on that. So if we feel that you're able to do it and you want to run a game and the community want a game, or you want to run an offline game on the Discord, just set it up. We might even play. Just because we're not there, it doesn't mean we're not there. It just means we're just taking some time out. And if someone wants to run a game, we probably will be jumping in our pajamas with mince pie, crumbs down our bit of whiskey. Might be a bit drunk. You never know. So December is huge. It is huge. Oh, and everybody has to wear Christmas jumpers.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a terrible punishment. What have we done to deserve that?
Told me to shut up earlier.
Well, I didn't tell you to shut up earlier.
I feel like I'm going to have an entertaining time trying to get that one to work.
That's a good point.
No, I just made that up on the spot. You don't
No,
really.
That's for
It's-
the break, not for the carbon game. Don't
Yeah,
worry, Strain.
they're only
Don't
joking.
worry,
I
don't
was
worry.
playing. No one has to do that. So yeah,
But we will.
check that out in the Discord. So that's cool. So we will now just check Croy's on the right mic and he's not sounding far away.
Yeah. Well, let me
Because
just do a little bit about
IMT says you sound far away.
that. I am on the right
He is.
mic, but my volume was very low.
Yes.
And actually, something's changed. Ever since OBS updated 2 days ago, I have been having technical rebalancing issues. So I'm going to boost the gain on my microphone just a tad. In fact, no, I'm not. I'm going to increase the gain on my... There we go. I'll boost me that way. That's better. Right, that should boost
There
me
we
up.
go.
That should be better.
IMT, please confirm if that is better.
I should now be a little bit more in volume. I want to be balanced. I shouldn't be too much louder than Ange or quieter. That's good. I've not been
That's
saying
better.
anything,
That's
so it's fine. I've not been talking.
It's good. Oh, I forgot to mention. Somebody called Lloyd did mention he was going to. He might want a Christmas one. So yeah. By the way, I'm holding you to that. So
Nice.
speak to you about that.
Try and rewrite it. Yeah.
Everybody should know by now. If you mention something to me, I will take that and run like vampires. That's been mentioned.
To take it and run like
You've
vampires?
never mentioned vampires in your entire life. What are you talking about?
Yes. So yes, no, that was mentioned. I think today. I don't know, in the marathon of text that has gone through Discord today, which has been immense. But somebody, was it yesterday or today, mentioned vampires. So we're going to be running that. I think that was down for maybe December the 13th, but that's got to be confirmed. Bear with me on that one.
Are you happy about vampires, Ange?
Yes.
What is your thing with vampires?
You did see Tom Cruise as a vampire, didn't you? And
No.
then there was the Lost Boys, and
He wasn't
then
in that.
oh, and then yeah.
Yeah, he looks a lot like Kiefer Sutherland.
So yeah, can we just yeah? They're just yeah. They are sexy. You can't say they're not. Anyway, we gotta go on with the game. Really?
Nosferatu.
No, he's not. Obviously.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we're going. What? So we're using the Forge tonight, right? We're using.
We are.
You
Yeah.
can do all the next bits now.
Yes. Please join us.
Are I being a player? Are I being a player? Why is IMT? Sorry, he's not coming, is he? He's not joining us this week.
No,
he is
he's,
part of the
yeah.
schedule, though, isn't he? Who's
Yes,
that
he is gonna
typing
be
heavily in
playing.
the background?
Lloyd.
So
We're suddenly
noisy.
realizing that he's got to rewrite his Christmas adventure. That's what it was.
Yeah, he's suddenly panicking. Christmas game. Angela's mentioned it. But yeah, there will be normally, obviously, IMT in, but he is just going to abuse us from the sidelines tonight.
Okay, I am going to do something just very, very rudimentary just now.
Is it end the stream?
So bear with. I would not want to do that. So can you give us a little bit of information about Blades in the Dark for those of us who have not experienced it or
Can I
are aware of
give
it?
you If only I'd had something prepared.
You have, you idiot.
So, Blades in the Dark is a narrative-driven role-playing game written by John Harper and published by Evil Hat Publications. And the players take on the roles of a crew of daring scoundrels who are attempting to achieve fame and fortune in the ghost-haunted steampunk city of Duskwall. Their adventures will document their progress as they climb the ladder to become the most feared or respected criminal gang in the entire city. And opposing them are numerous other gangs, law enforcement agencies, and city officials that operate within the pressure cooker that is Duskwall. Alliances will be forged and broken, deals will be struck and reneged upon. Open warfare is possible, death for some is inevitable. How about that? Don't tell me it had to be longer, because that's all I got.
It's not always death, though, is it?
Yeah.
No, because
Yeah,
my
it's kind of-
character went insane, didn't she? And she disappeared.
Yes. Anyway, that is the setting and the basis for the game that we are will be playing at some point. This is going to be session 0, I guess, where we're going to take a little look at creating some characters maybe and figure out how they may fit into this world. And I know Ange and Croy have both played this game before. You've almost played it, I believe, Josh, you said?
Almost. Very almost.
Almost. It was so close.
First time actually at the table.
Yeah. And so I think, yeah, we have a little map. If we can we get the map of Duskwall? There it is in the background. So the city of Duskwall, it's kind of well, let's go about the world first then. So 1,000 years ago, this is kind of the premise. There's a thing called the Cataclysm, which destroyed the sun and broke open the gates of death, which allowed all of the spirits contained therein to rush out and ravage the world. A few remaining cities of the Empire are now left in perpetual darkness, and they protect themselves from the things in the Deathlands using these lightning towers, these large crackling lightning towers that's powered by a material known as electroplasm, which is harvested from these titanic demons that dwell in what is now known as the Void Sea. And Duskwall is actually a port for these Leviathan hunters, these massive metal ships that sail out to the north to hunt Leviathans, to collect their blood, to power the electric barrier that keeps the ghosts out of the city. Duskwall is it's an industrial city. The book says it's a mashup of Venice, London, and Prague around the time of the 1870s. It's a densely packed area with every square foot covered by some kind of human construction, looming towers, sprawling manors, stacked tenements, all dissected by a network of canals, waterways, bridges, and roads. And it is broken down into several distinct districts. Each of these districts is controlled by a faction of some kind. And other factions, smaller factions within those districts kind of pay fealty to them to operate. But they're all looking for a big score, which can then propel them to fame and fortune, so they can take control of the district and then the city. And our players are going to form a band of scoundrels, commonly known as a crew. And they will select the type of crew that they're going to play from a small list. They could be assassins, killers for hire, bravos, basically hired thugs. They could be a cult, like a worship a long forgotten god. Hawkers, which could be vice dealers of some kind. Shadows, who are spies and thieves that operate in the darkness. Or smugglers, who are a group that basically just move goods and people across town and out of the city or into the city. But then they will choose certain playbooks for their characters that will form this crew then. And they'll choose them from a variety of playbooks, but each one has its own kind of mode of operation, and they will gain experience if they carry out tasks using this mode of operation. And the playbooks we have are cutters, which are basic fighters and leaders, hounds, which are your hunters, ranger types, if you like, the leech, who are alchemists and inventors, the lurk, who is the archetypal thief hiding in the shadows, the slide, the face or con man woman, social kind of operative, spider, who is kind of like an evil genius, the mastermind that is pulling strings behind the curtain, or whispers, who are arcane adepts. They're the closest thing this game has to magic users. They can control the supernatural in some way and communicate with the ghosts that haunt the city. So, I mean, there's a huge amount of lore and background that goes into this game. Probably too much for us to go into in a session 0 right now. So I think we will probably just kind of look at maybe see about a crew and character types. I think that's what we will go with this session 0, if that's all right with everyone.
True.
Leech before in our first game.
You were a leech.
I loved it. Absolutely great fun.
I was a whisperer and I lived that, but I'm not going to do that.
You can play them
time.
again. If you
No,
want to.
no, I did that, and I did cause an awful lot of damage doing the whisperer.
Yeah, I'd like to
Didn't
be.
I blow up a building or something?
You had a lightning storm, and you killed quite a lot of civilians, if I remember correctly, which got us into a lot of trouble.
Because we're not supposed to kill people, are we? Really?
Well, no, that's right. I mean, outside of the city, there are the Deathlands, and it's full of spirits and twisted, horrifying entities, like demons and the like, that have all kind of escaped from death. And they're all kind of vengeful and trying to get into this city. And the problem is that sometimes they do get in, and when they do, they cause a lot of trouble. So there is an organization that has been set up that operates out of what's called Bellwether Crematorium. The Spirit Wardens, they're known as. And it's their task to actually go through the city and root out any ghosts. And whispers as well, people that deal with the supernatural. And they collect these spirits, or the bodies of the dead. It takes 3 days for a dead person's spirit to emerge from the body. And the idea is that the Spirit Wardens would find these bodies before that occurs, take them to Bellwether Crematorium, wherein they are cast into a fiery furnace of electroplasm to be destroyed before the spirit can wreak havoc upon the city.
Someone needs to play a whisper. They do. It's such a good one. I mean, I didn't do it justice as usual because you need there's quite a lot to go in. It is, I think, quite a hot. Mark said it's quite one of the harder ones.
It's one of the tougher ones to play, I think. To start.
It's some of the stuff because I mean it threw me because like when I had to go into and speak to the ghosts and the concept of what we see ghosts and the reality of the ghosts in Blades is very different, isn't it? The Blades in Ghosts are quite malevolent, aren't they? They're quite.
Well, yeah, they basically they try to drain the life force of the living. They feed off that.
Yeah.
And so they tend to be quite malevolent, and they can actually possess people as well, which is an interesting aspect of the game. They can possess people, living beings, and if they do, and they manage to stay there for a certain amount of time, that is what turns a person into a vampire in this game. Vampires, they're a little bit different.
I'm going to go run around and find the ghosts.
They're a little bit different.
I'm finding ghosts.
Yeah. To, sexy, I am vampire kind of
Sexy
thing.
vampire.
It's definitely a little bit
You
different.
can't be a sexy 18th century vampire. What even is the point?
Yeah, well, true. In fact, let's not even call them vampires. They're not even. Yeah.
I will get to play this vampire one day. You know what? When I play it, I won't know what to do with it.
Nah. Good thing about being a vampire in Dustwall is you can go out any time of the day because there is no sun. The sun has been destroyed, so it's perpetually dark, which is kind of cool for a vampire, I guess. Yeah.
Yep.
What I've done, I've copied some of the details about the various playbooks into the journal tab there. If folks wanted to take a look and we could maybe discuss ideas about these kind of characters, perhaps, if we were.
Do we do our crew first and decide what kind of crew we're going to be, and then make our characters, or do we make our characters and see what kind of crew that would probably form?
You know what? I'm open to this. We can do this any way you want. If anybody's got any particular idea as to what kind of crew they would want to be, there's also a crew types thing in the journal as well. But they're kind of left kind of deliberately vague. And once you've chosen a crew type, you gain XP doing particular types of scores, which is.
So our job is as a crew is that we're kind of a small crew, and we want to make our crew more.
Yeah, you start up. There are different tiers for the levels of the factions that you're coming up against, and you start off at tier 0. You have a small kind of bit of territory that is kind of. That you have been allowed to operate in a particular part of Duskwall, and we'll kind of have to go and discuss all of that as well at some point. So you start off as tier 0, and you gain reputation as you carry out little scores, which are kind of like little missions that you have. And by doing that, you gain reputation, which you then kind of can use to increase your territory and your hold, or increase the size of your lair, what your group has, or raise your tier.
So basically, we do jobs to make us better, to get to be a more influential or more territorial.
Yeah.
So, like, if we were assassins, then people could hire us to go and kill people.
Yeah.
It's all about networking. You know what I'm saying?
That's it. Exactly.
So assassins. So assassins says what it is. What are bravos again? So bravos.
They're basically just your standard hired thugs.
Right.
Yeah.
That your enforcers and people like that. You would be maybe hired to go and break somebody's legs if they're stepping out of line, or to collect money from people and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And by the way, you don't have to. Just because that's what the main focus of your group is, that doesn't mean that's all you can do. You can still be a bravo and go and assassinate somebody. You could be paid to go kill somebody or anything like that. That can still be a thing.
Yeah.
So you're not limited in that way.
Yeah, you could take his arm off and beat him to death with it.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, maybe as a bravo, you'd want to make it as messy as possible, as maybe as a warning to others or something. I don't know. So on those playbooks, Croy, you can click image as well to show images if you wished to show chat. These are images that have come directly from the Blades in the Dark rulebook, which is flipping amazing.
Absolutely,
it's a gorgeous book, and you should just buy it anyway because it looks
beautiful.
Fantastic.
Yeah. It really is
Where
nice.
is it?
It's behind on the shelf behind me.
Oh.
Let me just bring up this for chat whilst I do this. So this is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna just cut that back. Nothing expense spared. No time available today.
Spent.
Drop this down, and we'll drop that like that, and then that'll give us some space, hopefully, for chat to see a little bit about what we're doing as we go. And I'll drag the things into the middle there, as and when they crop up. So we'll always see what's going on in the background, and I'll bring anything into focus that needs to be there.
Fine.
So this is
might be a bit more interesting for chat.
Yeah, I've no idea. It would normally be slightly more prepared, but let's see how this goes, and we will definitely have overlays ready for next week.
Yeah.
It's Saturday, isn't it? We're actually playing the game.
I apparently.
Yeah,
it's Saturday. Next Saturday we're going to be playing the first game. So there's so much cool art in this game. There really is.
Okay, so let's have
picture of the cutter.
Oh, so are we doing characters first or crew first?
That is entirely up to you guys. How would you want to?
What do you want to do, guys? Lloyd.
I mean, like, one doesn't really stop the other one, so it doesn't make much of a difference. So probably just pick the character you want, and then we can decide what kind of jobs we do.
Okay, let's do that then. Let's go ahead and do that.
Because that's what the people really want.
So has anybody got any particular ideas as to what, or particular desire to play a certain type of character?
I had a quick look through the book the other day, and I think I said I was looking at playing a slide.
Yes.
Which happens to be the one that's up just now. There, that's the one that's in the middle from the slide.
Do I have to dress like that?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so gonna dress like that.
I was thinking of being a cutter.
Okay, cool.
I like the sound.
You can all be the same. It doesn't matter because you can vary all of that up anyway. You know, it's just down to.
I'd like to try the whisper because they sound very different.
Okay.
It is. It is so much fun. It is. Oh, it'd be so cool, and it's going to be if someone else plays it as well. It'd be so cool to see someone play it properly.
You do yourself a disservice, Angie Pops. You really do.
And Josh, just so that you don't feel you have to play something that somebody else hasn't already chosen. Choose anything you want. It will not matter. If you want to play a cutter, that's fine. You want to play another whisper, that's fine. It doesn't matter.
I'm quite tempted by a lurk, actually. I've been the second story, man. So
yes, like it.
Living the Reddit life.
Here's the image for Lurk.
What's the slide? So a slide is a subtle manipulator and spy. Subtle.
Yes. This could be your downfall.
Well, I mean, you could be supposed to be subtle, and then that could be your vice.
Okay, yeah.
Well,
So what it says, it says about the primal substance of the world.
Here then, folks, is you can open up your. There's a character sheet that's been assigned to you in the characters tab along the top.
Oh yeah, yep.
And you can kind of open that up. And if you click on the compendium tab along the top there, which is like the second one from the end, next to the cogs.
Yep. Ooh, right.
Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff there. So basically in the classes, you'll open that up and you can drag whichever of those things you have chosen onto your character sheet.
Oh, does it not need to be popped out?
It needs to be popped in, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You can't do it if it's popped out.
I'll pop that back in, yeah.
It's not dragging for me.
Not dragging.
Well, that is unfortunate.
So this is the character sheet that we have. Now, I can do a little bit of explanation of this, sort of, because I've played a little bit of this before, and I do apologise it's a bit wee. I'll expand it over ourselves in a minute, have a good look at it. But we've got stress. Stress is an issue in this game, and we can perform things based on the amount of stress that we want to take. If we want to take a lot of stress, then we can perform things better. I'm talking broad brush here, right? If you take too much stress, then you gain trauma. And the trauma can be a lot of things. You have certain levels of trauma, and as you build up that trauma, you eventually become a shadow of your former self. But you can get rid of stress during downtime activity. So the cycle of building up stress during don't call it a heist, is it? What's the name of it? A score. The score. Yeah. You build up the stress doing actions in the score, and then in downtime activity you lose some of that by performing whatever it is that happens to be your vice. But if you overindulge your vice, and this is all done via a dice roll, then strange and unusual things can happen to your character and will be missing for some time. An example for one of our characters, played by Kit Wright in the last game, was that he was a religious fanatic, and he overindulged in his religious fanaticism and ended up proselytizing down the street for many days with barely any clothes on. Who knows if that's true or not, that last bit. But he disappeared.
I like to think of it that way.
And he was, ranting that the end of the world is nigh. And we got him back again after that. My character was alchemist of sort. He made gadgets and he used alchemical means to deface and defoul his opponents, and his vice was gambling, and he would enjoy gambling on fistfights. And one day he overindulged and he ended up in the ring himself. And it didn't go well. He was not a fighter. He was not a fighter. So a couple of days out for him. That's the idea. So that's one of the things that you see there in the centre. So you've got this idea of building up stress during your activities, leading into trauma, but getting that cycled back down. Right, is that covered enough time for you?
That was fantastic. Yeah. So okay, don't look in the compendium one. Look in the items directory, which is the tab next to the characters one. And you're looking at the classes folder. You should be able to drag from there. I hope.
Items is empty. So search classes.
You just open the classes and just drag the one across.
Nothing in my.
There's nothing in it.
Oh,
It's time to talk about something else on the sheet now.
I did it a different way. That seemed to work. If you click class on your character sheet, you can.
You can do it that way. You can do it that way
from the add class bit.
That's cool.
Right. Let me do this again.
Where's class on your character sheet?
It's like 4 lines down from your name.
Found it.
Oh.
Add.
There's rep, turf, turfs.
No, you're looking at the crew sheet and not your character sheet.
Oh. Oh, that might be why I was doing it wrong then.
There we go. I've got cutter now.
Sheet.
Yeah. Okay.
I've got cutter now. Here we go.
I was on the wrong sheet, and maybe Croy was on the wrong sheet.
No, I was on the right sheet.
No.
I was on the right sheet.
It was a team effort. Don't worry. A team fuck up. It's fine.
So we can see. We can see
It's
here
on.
now.
Yay!
If I just zoom into that a bit. If I just.
There we go.
I'm trying really hard to zoom into this, and hang on a minute. If I just do.
That's it. That's cool.
This. There we go. You can see that there. There we go. So this is my character sheet, and we're all looking at something. So this is a class now. So I've gone cutter. I can't see everybody else's sheet to show you, but that's they're all going through.
Would it help for me to give you access to their sheets so we're kind of going through?
Could be interesting.
Creating it might be fun. Just give me one.
So what does let's read what? So a cutter. That. So who's playing the cutter then? Is that you, Croy?
Croy is playing the cutter. Right, you should have access to all of that stuff now. Which is...
You get XP when you address a challenge with violence or coercion.
Coercion.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Fucking tastic. I am so looking forward to this.
Coercion.
Yes.
Our 2 favourite things.
This is a cutter in the underworld of dusk. There are scoundrels who take what they want at the bloody edge of the blade, or with a threatening presence that can stop a man cold. They are enforcers, the debt collectors, the killers, the leg breakers, the thugs, commonly known as the cutters. Where subtlety fails, swift brutality and the threat of worse to come can solve the problem, or at least turn it into a different kind of problem.
Yes.
Play a cutter, you earn XP when you address a challenge with violence or coercion. Go ahead and get up in everybody's smug faces and tell them who's boss, and let your blade do the talking if they don't get the message.
Yeah.
You do have a personal...
want to be a boat.
You have a personal code or a line that you won't cross.
Or do you?
Do you want to be the boss, or do you want to be the enforcer for the boss?
Oh, I'm the enforcer. I'm absolutely the enforcer. 100%.
Okay,
Wow.
right. So, I mean, should we go through this one at a time, or and we can get maybe the character sheet up as we?
Yeah,
do Croy. Yeah, that's cool.
Because it's like a nice rundown
Yes,
of each.
cutters are very stabby, and punchy as well.
It's like a fine afternoon in Glasgow.
Right, are we going to go with Croy first? Then is that as you've got that open there? Is this the plan?
Could do that.
Okay. Right. So we're going to go through. Choose how we create these characters then. So basically we're going to choose the playbook, which you have done. You have selected cutter. You're going to choose a heritage. So you can actually, there's actually a heritage item you can drag across.
He's not going to be Tycherosi. He's not going to be Scotland.
Okay.
He's not going to be a Scotlander.
Okay.
Which leaves
Iruvian, Akarosian, Severosian, or Dagger Islander.
Iruvian. They were the swordsmen, weren't they?
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
There is one of the factions in the game, which is the Red Sash Sword Academy, which are Iruvians.
Yep, I am going to be Iruvian. It's not updating my sheet. If I choose it from the menu. Oh, there we go. It's on it. Right, cool. So that's Iruvian. Yeah. So that's easy.
Yeah. So you need to kind of perhaps think about, your family life there. So you're Iruvian, but you've come to, but Duskwall is in a place called Akaros. So the Akarosians are the kind of the natives of this area. Iruvia is. It says here, if you want to be from a culture considered foreign by the locals, it could be from Iruvia. It's a rich and powerful desert kingdom far to the south. It's another diverse land of varying cultures, similar to Persia, Egypt, and India.
Perfect.
Yeah. So that's kind of, you've got to choose your background, which is also
thug, military.
So there are a number of choices here. Academic, labor, law, military, noble, trade, or underworld.
Military is in twice. I think military is good. I'm going to go military.
Okay, no, yeah.
It's not gonna, if I double.
I'll do it. I'll do it for you.
Thank you.
I'll work that out.
Let me zoom in a bit so chat can see a wee bit more.
Alrighty then. So you now, as a cutter, you start with a number of action dots. You can see those listed on the right hand side. You've got those little circles that are on your character sheet on the bottom right. There they are. Okay. You start off with 2 dots filled in on skirmish.
Right.
And 1 dot filled in on command.
Nice one. Excellent.
Okay. Being a cutter, you get those automatically. And what that will mean is, whenever you come to make an action rating using skirmish, as it stands currently, you will roll a dice for every one of those dots that are filled in. And it's a 6-sided dice. The way this system works is you roll those dice, you choose the highest of the 2. If it's a 1, 2, or 3, you fail at the task you're attempting to do. If you roll a 4 or 5, you succeed, but there is a complication.
Which you get to decide on. Is it?
Yes. Actually, some of the other. This is one of those things where input can be offered from around the table in whatever manner. And on a roll of 6, you succeed. If you roll an extra 6, if you roll double 6, for example, on a 2 6-sided dice, you have succeeded beyond your greatest expectations. Like a critical success, if you like.
Yep.
Which is nice.
Do I get any extra points to spend on my insight, resolve, or prowess skills?
Yeah. And perhaps, is it worth mentioning what they do? Insight, prowess, and resolve here.
Yes, for chat.
These are kind of abilities. Because what happens with these is, if you were attacked by somebody, or somebody is trying to do something against you, you can say, I'm not taking that. I'm going to resist that action. And you get to roll on one of those abilities, whichever one is most appropriate. If it's a physical threat that you're trying to resist, you will roll on prowess. And what that will do is that will roll a number of dice, and you will take stress. You automatically take 6 stress minus the highest dice that you rolled. So if you roll a 6 and you take no stress whatsoever. But if you roll a 5, you will take 1 stress, etc., etc. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what that will do, that can actually reduce the amount of harm that you take from an action that is being committed against you. Does that make sense?
Yep. So if we burn too much stress during our actions, then we might take stress over unexpectedly, and that could push us into that trauma zone.
If you have basically a pool of 9 stress points that depletes whenever you take stress, and once you hit the 9th stress, you take a trauma, and that's when things get a bit odd. You're kind of removed from the game temporarily, and you gain a trauma which affects your character's behavior in some way, whether it makes them cold, or they're haunted by something. They become obsessed with a particular thing. They get paranoid, and you get to roleplay that. And every time you roleplay that, you get experience points, which is nice.
Yeah.
But we worry about all of that stuff at a later date, because it's quite a difficult thing to explain right now with no frame of reference, I think. Right, back to creating your character. So you now get 4 points to spend, or put into these dots. You can basically, you're going to have to. But before you do that, there is something that you have to consider. No action can go higher than 3 dots. I believe.
Yep. Because we have to unlock the crew facility to be able to do that.
Is it? I'm not sure if it's 2. Can't remember now. Anyway, you're going to put 1 dot in an action that you feel reflects your character's heritage as an Iruvian.
Hunt.
Okay. You'll have put 1 dot in any action that you feel reflects your character's background as military.
Command. No, I already had. No, I didn't have that.
You could have command. You did that. You've already got a point in command, but you could have 2 in command. Prowl. Okie dokie. And then you've got 2 more dots that you can put anywhere you like. Sorry, 2 is the maximum. You can't go higher than 2.
Survey and consort.
Nice. Cool. Right, hunt is generally an action that you would use if you were perhaps shooting somebody from a distance or something like that. Are these kind of self-explanatory, do you think?
The beauty of this game is that the interpretation of those 9 skills plus the extra 3, which is insight, prowess, and resolve, is just so open and so kind of available. As long as it broadly fits, it seems to be that it's okay. It's suitably vague, isn't it, and suitably wide.
Yeah, I think so.
That
as long as we can justify it, it's like I'm going to use hunt in this way. It's
you can use any action to overcome pretty much any obstacle.
Yep.
As long as you can kind of justify it.
Yep.
Like give
but
reason.
Also, if it seems quite implausible, you may have reduced effect or something like that. If you try to do it, it may be
push it too far on that.
Yeah, it may not be as effective as if you were using.
It opens up the narrative, don't you? I'm going to use hunt because I'm going to do this in this
that's
way,
exactly
and this is why I'm going to use it.
That's exactly how it works. Yeah.
Cool.
Okie dokie. So, you get to choose now a special ability as well.
Okay.
And if you open up the journal thing, you should see abilities. Ones they've got a C in the front of them are cutter ones.
Hang on.
Which are special abilities.
If I
you
open
click on
up
them,
the journal.
not the journal, the lists. You know where the heritages and all that were.
Classes, crew abilities, crew reputation, crew types, crew upgrades, heritages, items, and vices.
Its abilities is the first one at the top. That's the one you want to open.
That's crew abilities.
Have I not given you permission to see that? I haven't.
I see crew abilities. I see classes.
There we go. There we go.
Abilities.
Got it.
I've forgotten all these.
Yeah.
What the hell's Ghost Fighter? That sounds good.
Ghost Fighter means you can punch ghosts with your bare hands.
Wow. And how many of these do I get to pick? One?
Just one.
Can we see what they are?
Wow, there's so many.
Yeah, but remember the ones that are specific to your
Are marked with C.
class are marked with. So you're a slide. Yours is SL, I think. If it says SL.
Oh yeah. See.
Oh,
Okay.
It's got to be not to be trifled with.
Not to be trifled with is fan-freaking-tastic. Yeah, so you're going to choose that one, yeah?
Yeah, let me drag that over. Not to
Will
be...
it work?
It will.
Yes, excellent. That worked. Okay, which means you can push yourself, and that means you take 2 stress, obviously, when you push yourself. But it allows you to perform a feat of physical force that verges on the superhuman. You engage a small gang by yourself, for example. Whereas anybody else might have... the effect might be limited when they try to attack a larger opponent, a number of opponents. You don't have that disadvantage with Not to be trifled with. You get to beat the living shit out of all
Come on. Josh!
Which is very nice.
So fired up for this. So good.
Yes, right. Now, there is a choose your friends and one rival. But we'll do that separately, I think, because that will require a bit of
backstories and things.
Writing, yeah.
Yep.
But you get
have
to
that ready
choose
for next week.
your vice. Now, the vice. Now we've talked about stress very briefly, and about how you gain or lose stress. No, you gain stress by carrying out certain actions, and by resisting damage and harm to yourself. And the way, as that builds up, to avoid getting a trauma, you then, in a downtime phase, can indulge your vice, which means you get to remove some of that stress by visiting, I don't know, maybe it was like Ty, he was a gambler. He would go to the fighting pits and gamble on the fights, and that would relieve some of the stress.
I would like to do what Angie had the last time, which was weird. Because there was so many cool things. There was so many cool things with that.
Yeah. So you can drag your...
I'll drag weird over.
In there. Yeah, certainly do.
I think one of the things me and Mark discussed about some of these vices, obviously in a group of more of us, would be is as players, is that we should think a little bit so that when we do the vices, it doesn't take ages to go through each vice. So that's one of the things, which would be an idea to have a couple.
Oh, okay.
I don't think we should. We're not going to hand wave it all the time. Sometimes we will.
What I'm saying is like, like sometimes we sit and go, well, what can we do? It's like if you have a few that are there. So when you say, right, go to your downtime to do your vice. If you've got a few that you could just like go, yeah, I'm going to go and do this today, and you can say it. So you can say it a bit quicker. Do you know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah, it makes sense. Makes sense.
That's all
That's fine.
Because some of the vices are not worth ignoring. Because some of them, like, if you do weird, then your imagination just goes crazy.
Yeah, and then it's just basically your name, alias, and look, and we're done for your character. Then, effectively.
I am not going to be able to come up with a name that I'm going to be happy with immediately.
I'm not concerned about that.
So
because
that's
I think
cool.
we move on to one of the other folks. It'll be. I think we should do Josh or Lloyd next.
Brilliant.
Whoever.
Yeah.
So
Mine might be doing
who wants to go next?
Let me drag that, and then I can find that. Go for
Right,
it.
I'll go first.
Okay.
I'll go for first, yes.
All right, let's go for that then.
So whisper. Whisper.
So,
Whispers have to be weird.
Yeah. So
They
I've
don't
got the
have
name
to
bit
be.
down at least already anyway.
That's Solomon.
Okay, you.
Is it Solomon? Oh yeah, I like it. Cool. Okay, so you're going to be a whisper.
Yes.
Alrighty then. So I drag that across. I'm not sure if that's working for everybody. Cool. So as a whisper, well, you've chosen your whisper. We're going to now select a heritage. And this is basically like where you came from. We can expand on this at some point as well, so you can kind of decide. Like you might be a refugee.
One of the heritage
or
actually
like
fitted really well with Whisper, anyway, didn't it? I can't think which one it was.
the Taikarosi are kind of a bit strange. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's something odd about Taikarosi that's generally people find unsettling. There's usually some kind of weird thing about them, like they might have porcupine spines for hair, or I think there's one of the guys mentioned in the book. He's a serpent. From the lower half of him is a serpent. He doesn't have legs, but you wouldn't know that if you're standing behind a bar, for example, or
Did he move?
Kind of, weird like that. Or it might just be that he has strange eyes, like completely black eyes, or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, this doesn't have to be where you were born. It's just sort of your heritage, I guess, your ancestry, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
I might go for the Dagger Isles, like at least his parents were.
Okay.
And then he said I kind of had in my head is that he's sort of grown up in the city. But I guess he doesn't really know where he came from, like where his parents came from or whatever.
But that kind of makes a little bit of sense. Yeah, the Dagger Isles. It says here, if you want to be a rootless wanderer, you could be from the Dagger Isles. People there often grow up on ships and travel a lot before settling down. They're known as corsairs and merchants who live without lightning barriers, dealing with spirits in other ways.
Yeah, so that's what I was thinking. He got left behind. Well, he ended up in either he was born there, abandoned there, or or he doesn't really know what happened with his parents, but he just grew up in the city. But
that's cool. Yeah, I like it.
Background.
Background then. So, once again, this is something that we can expand upon a little bit. But you have the same choices that Croy had here. Like an academic background or a background of labor. Maybe you worked with the law in some way, or the military.
Yeah.
Be a noble from a noble family. It could be some kind of merchant or trader. Or you're just brought up in the underworld.
Yeah, I think that kind of fits with what the idea I was going with. I think the sort of outcasts grew up on the streets.
Underworld?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if you can drag that across. Yep.
Yep. No, it's just using the menu.
Nice. So, as your as a whisper, your starting actions that you get are you get 1 dot in study.
Study and
2 dots in attune.
Sweet.
Yeah. Attune is basically a way that whisper he can speak and see and manipulate the supernatural.
Yeah.
There's this idea of this thing called the ghost field, which everybody can kind of see. It's almost like a peripheral vision for everybody else, though, whereas you can actually look directly into this ghost field.
Yeah.
And enable you to talk to spirits. The ghost field's kind of a weird and fairly abstract thing as well, because it's not just spirits that you see in the ghost field, but you can actually kind of sometimes see like bits of the city, old parts of the city in there that are no longer there. Some ideas like might be like you need to get to a certain place, but it's blocked by a wall or whatever. But back in the past, there may have been a doorway there or something, and in the ghost field you can see that, and you can pass through that door and make it to the other side of that wall. It's kind of weird stuff like that.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah. So you have 4 dots that you gotta choose. Remember that one of them you put in an action that you feel reflects your character's heritage as a Dagger Islander.
Yeah, I was just trying to remember what they all do.
Yeah.
That's a cheat sheet somewhere. So tune is ghost field, command is compelling.
Yeah, here we go. I can read it. When you attune, you open your mind to the ghost field or other arcane power. Yeah. When you command, you compel swift obedience. When you consort, you are socializing with friends and contacts. With finesse, you employ dexterous manipulation or subtle misdirection, which might be useful for you, Josh, when you come to create yours. When you hunt, you're carefully tracking a target. Now, you can use that in terms of sniping or just even following people.
Yeah.
Prowl is traversing swiftly and quietly. Skirmish is close combat, effectively.
Yeah.
Study is scrutinizing details and interpreting evidence. And survey is when you observe a situation and anticipate outcomes.
Yeah. So we got 4 points. So Mike...
1 point is to represent your heritage.
Yeah. Is that included in the 4, the heritage?
It's you got 4 dots. One of them is you have to spend in that on your heritage.
Yeah.
One that you spend on your background, and then the other 2 you can put wherever you like.
I guess with heritage, maybe consort, because that's kind of like the sort of persuasion.
Yeah. Consort is kind of with friends and people like that. Sway, now, that might be more appropriate because that's kind of manipulating strangers and stuff like that. And if you're thinking of trading or...
Yeah, that's what I probably think, yeah.
Yeah.
So I do sway. I might put skirmish up to 1 just as...
for Underworld.
Some fundamental ability to defend yourself.
Yep.
And then...
2 points. And remember, the other thing is, if you don't have dots in these skills, you can still use them.
Yeah.
It's just that how that works is you roll 2 dice and take the lowest as your result. But you can push yourself at any point to give yourself a bonus die.
Yeah.
It costs 2 stress to do that, but that will give you a dice that you can just roll.
Cool. What I might do, I think I was thinking maybe Tinker and then Survey, because like Tinker, because he has that I think because some of the ghost field stuff tends to be quite tech based.
It can be it can be like manipulating electroplasm and things like that.
Yeah, so like maintaining his own equipment would probably be, I think Tinker. I'll probably put a point in there, and then maybe another point in Study. I think just keep them somewhat specialized rather than all sort of spread out. And I think that's all my points.
Awesome. So you've assigned your dots. You're going to choose your special ability now. These are kind of strange. Oh
geez, there's so many.
Yeah. So what have we got here for the Whisper? From Compel is the obvious choice. Compel is what allows you to command ghosts do your bidding. Ghost Mind is always being aware of supernatural entities in your presence, and you get a bonus dice whenever you gather info about the supernatural.
Yeah.
Iron Will, immune to the terror. Now that's the other thing. Every time anybody sees a ghost, they are terrifying, and most people are kind of frozen in terror when they see them. Whispers generally aren't, to a degree, but they, depending on the nature of the spirit.
Yeah, I imagine worse ones still have a chance to do
Yes, yeah, and that gives you a +1 to resistance if it tries to attack you. Because even though you can speak to them, they're not necessarily friendly.
Yeah, and then cultist.
Yeah.
But I guess a cultist probably is more useful, I guess, if you're playing like a more of a cult-based game, I guess.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, there are different ways of using that, I guess.
Yeah.
You know about these things. You don't necessarily have to be pally with them or worship them.
Strange methods.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I might go with compel.
Okay.
Yeah,
it's a good
extra
choice.
Pair of hands.
Yeah. Compel's a good one.
Did that add it?
Did it not work for you?
I'll try to drag it over.
Okay.
Oh,
we'll work on that. We can get that working.
yeah.
You want me to just drag it over?
There we go. Got it.
Got it. Cool. Nice. And you just got to choose a vice. Whatever it is that your character does to relieve stress. Misses.
Yeah.
Maybe maybe you can think about that one, because you could write that in with your character sort of background, isn't it?
Yeah, I think I'll put weird in because that kind of fits with some of the ideas I'd had before.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Yep, that's brilliant.
Weird is the most is fun. It is fun.
Yeah.
But you've got to come up with something.
Because I was thinking the thing
Weird.
of like as a kid, because it's kind of like he sort of learned how to do this largely on his own.
Yeah. So he had ghosties.
Like the point, like a kid's like
the kid from the Sixth Sense.
Yeah, like standing and staring at the ghost fence, like when as like people go to the beach kind of thing.
Nice.
That kind of stuff is what I was thinking.
And I guess we can leave that there for now.
Yeah.
And we can jump across to Josh, I think.
Hello.
Hiya, Josh. Okay. So you decided you were going to play a lurk.
Yep.
Is that right? Have you changed your mind, or are you still interested in going for that?
Nope, I'm still up there. Seems like a good
Awesome.
choice.
It is a good choice. Proper thief. Okay, so you are a lurk. And once again, you will choose a heritage, an area your character has come from.
I'm thinking I'm going to go with the Dagger Isles.
Isles. All right. There for you. That's another one from the Dagger Isles. It's two of yous. Okay, so you're kind of an outsider as well, maybe you guys know each other, came across together or something. I don't know.
Never seen him before in my life.
No, I'm governor. Sure. So you are Dagger Isles, and your background. What would that likely be? Do you think? Once again, it doesn't matter if you choose the same thing as somebody else. It is not an issue whatsoever.
Yeah,
we're going to play them differently.
Got a plan, essentially.
Excellent.
So, my background is going to be labour. I was a sailor. I was a top man.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Sales and all that. I was in sales.
I was in sales. I was a sales manager.
Okay. That's cool. I like that. And then you've got well, actually we need to decide. We need to find out what it is that you get as a lurk. You start with 1 point in finesse.
1 finesse.
And 2 points in prowl.
Pretty good at moving quietly. I need to walk on ropes.
Yes. That's kind of a nice little idea. So, yeah, you now have 4 points to spend. One of them to represent background, one to represent heritage, and 2 points to put wherever you like. Remember, nothing can go higher than 2.
Yeah. So I'm thinking probably another point of finesse from my background. Just, having to tie knots all day.
Yeah.
I'm used to fine manipulation.
Yes. It's like a handy thing for a lurk to have as well, doesn't it?
My heritage, being a sort of a sailor from the Dagger Isles, I'm thinking possibly survey. I'm used to looking out over the seas, working out what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah, like tides and all that kind of stuff, and spotting reefs and rocks and things.
2 more points. I think I'll throw a point in skirmish. I've been a scrap or 2.
Yep.
And
that's what drunken sailors do, right?
That's what all sailors do. Drunken doesn't need to be applied. I don't know whether to put a second point in survey or a point in sway. Both of which I think would fit, but I'm not sure.
What is it you're thinking? I sway.
Pretty much sort of, I'm not working as a sailor anymore for reasons. I like people to not know my reasons. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
He was too sober.
I was too sober.
Oh, yeah. Okay. And survey, just because, we already know that he's able to.
Pretty much more of the same.
Observe these. Yeah.
You're up on the ropes all day. You're looking out over the sea. You need to have good eyes.
You can also find that maybe after, but even potentially after he left the ship, that would have definitely broadened your horizons for strategizing outcomes and whatnot.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's true.
So,
I think I'm going to throw a second point in survey, actually.
Ooh.
I think that fits a bit.
Yeah, you hide in the shadows. You don't have to talk to people.
Probably also explains why it never goes well when I do talk to people.
You find that he's like a master introvert. He's strategically worked out every point in space where he can be as far away from everyone else as possible.
Yeah.
I've got a map right here.
Yeah, it just says far away from you. So, you've got to choose your special ability.
Yes.
As a lurk. I don't know if you've had a chance to have a look through those yet.
Laser eyes.
I don't think that's there. Daredevil.
Sure it is. I'm writing it in right now.
I have created it. Ooh, there's some good ones here. Ambush. When you attack from hiding or spring a trap, you get plus 1d. Daredevil. When you roll a desperate action, you get plus 1d to your roll.
Not that our GM is generally a rogue type in a certain other tabletop role-playing game.
Rogues are the best. All the rest of them can just vanish as far as I'm concerned.
I'm a little bit torn between Daredevil and the Devil's Footsteps.
Oh, that Devil's Footsteps just sounds cool.
It does sound cool.
When you push yourself, choose one of the following additional benefits. Perform a feat of athletics that verges on the superhuman. Oh. That sounds very sexy, doesn't it? It is now.
I think I'm going with the Devil's Footsteps.
Yeah? Okay, cool.
Let's do that. The screen's been a bit wet. There we go.
That looks very nice. Yes, excellent. And then it's just a case of choosing a vice. What kind of vice? What does your character use or do to recharge his batteries, as it were?
Well, unfortunately, this is the reason why I'm no longer on a ship. Because my vice is drugs. Stupid.
Okay. Stupid. Fantastic. And that, I mean, other than the fact we've now got to just do a few of the fine details, which we can do off stream at some point, which is basically just your name, what your character looks like. You will choose a friend and a rival. Sorry, Edge. That is Vice. We've done it. You got to just choose your name, maybe flesh out the heritage in the background just a little bit, and and we're going to choose our friends and rivals. You have to choose one friend and one rival that may help or hinder your efforts as you progress through this game. But we can do that. We can discuss that perhaps off stream. That's not quite so interesting. And we can go take a look at the crew types now, perhaps, and decide what kind of crew our cool characters are going to... And they are cool. They are going to be the coolest crew.
What's Angie's character? Or Angie's not there?
She's just had to disappear. We've got the grandson over. He's just woke up. So
actually, it's just gone 5:30. Is that a good point for a break?
We can take a little break.
Yeah.
Yes, and then we can look at crew creation. Yeah.
I have absolutely no idea what's going to happen when I go to this BRB screen. So we'll see.
Be right back. And
be right back, guys.
Let's see people at some point. Yeah.
See you in a mo.
up to the breaking news. Superheroes are among us.
Are they dangerous? What are their rights? Should they be illegal?
Kinetics, the world's leading expert in genetics and technology, have started working with the governments around the world to find and
Hey,
And we're back. Hi, everybody.
there we go.
We're still alive.
Yeah. Well, that was interesting.
I'm not quite sure for how long, though.
Yeah. Okay. So we've gone through character creation for 3 of the crew at least. I think we're gonna go and do Angie Pop's character off stream, maybe.
I mean, I can give you a quick one. I'm going to be a slide.
Yeah, give me a slide.
Be from the underworld, grew up a street urchin kind of thing, and then, and I'm going to have things like mesmerize and mirror and stuff like that. So yeah, that's what I'm going to be basically. So I'm going to be very slick, spy-ish, a manipulator.
Cool.
Meet people.
Let's get you the slide image next to you.
Yeah.
I'm going to go for the fine clothes. I'm going to go for the fine clothes and disguise kind of manipulator, so I can get into places and do things and a plan. Yeah.
Nice.
That's where I'm going with that. Hi, Bong. We haven't missed anything major. This is just a
Session 0.
session 0. We are playing Blades in the Dark next week. Is
Next
a new.
Saturday.
So we've explained the world. So we wanted to do a pre-session for people. So it's on the VOD. You can go back to it, so you know who we are, what we're doing, what the world is, a little bit about the mechanics. That's all really. It's just so that we all knew where we were going with it. And obviously when we go next week. So as we run this, you're kind of a little bit maybe invested in the characters, I suppose, if you know where they've come from. I suppose a little bit. So yeah, that's what we've done tonight. So we're not too far off. Just had a little interruption by my grandson, but so he has gone back to sleep. Bless him. So yeah. So were we going to look at the crew now? Were we?
I think we're going to take a look at crew types, yeah?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Excellent. So, now, I'm hoping you've all got access to that crew sheet.
Yeah.
And you should be able to manipulate that to a degree. So, there are a number of different crew types in Blades in the Dark. We have assassins, your typical killers for hire. Professional murderers. I think it's self-explanatory, right? What an assassin is. Bravos, who are your mercenaries and thugs, who are kind of enforcer types that perhaps may be hired to go break legs, collect bets, that kind of stuff. You could be a cult. You are all worshippers of some long-forgotten god. I'm not getting that vibe from you guys, though.
No, even though I'd like to do.
I'd like to do a cult. Or you could be hawkers, who are basically people that sell drugs or prostitution to maybe you run drug dens or you supply drugs to drug dens, stuff like that. You could be a group of shadows who are organized thieves or spies. You break into places, you can find things out for people, you can conduct operations of espionage, robbery.
That's kind of funny. I like that one. I like that one. I do like that one, but I've just got a sneaking suspicion the dice rolls that we will have will not allow us.
We're not worried about dice rolls. We don't care about dice rolls because remember, failing is fun.
Failing is fun. We were the worst smuggling crew ever in the history of smugglers.
But because of that, you were the best smuggling crew in history.
Have you never heard of failing upwards?
Like I said, it's failing forwards. That's what we do.
Love it.
And finally, you could be a group of smugglers, contraband transporters. You can move illicit goods around the city or in and out of the city. And you get to decide what kind of contraband it is you specialize in, whether it be arcane artifacts or drugs or alcohol or whatever it is. Does anybody have any particular vibe or preference? I mean, Croy just mentioned shadows there. He's quite like the sound of shadows.
I will go with I'll go with anything. That's just my initial.
I think based on who we got so far, I was edging towards shadows or smugglers.
Okay.
Because the other ones are kind of very much like a specific mindset, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, this is basically we're kind of saying. Using this to kind of say what kind of game it is that we're wanting to play here.
Yeah.
And I think shadows open up quite a few possibilities. I think.
Yeah.
Josh, do you have any preference? Anything that you like the look of?
Leaning towards shadows also. It seems to fit the group.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good for that.
Wow, that was quick. End of stream. Let's
go home.
We've got time for Andy's character.
Yeah, maybe we do. Okay, so
can I summon could my first action in the game be I'll summon a ghost, get possessed by it for 4 weeks, and then become a vampire just out of spite?
And then just so you can rub his face in it.
Bet you didn't realize you could do that as a whisperer.
But actually, notice though,
you could talk him out of it as a slide, right?
No, but on the actual on this thing on the items directory in the classes, it actually does say vampire.
It does. No, you can't just choose. No, you can't just choose vampire.
It shouldn't be there then, should it? Really, shouldn't
You'll
be
get
there.
work for it. I mean, what happens is it's like what's part of the apocalypse thing. Is something bad happens to you, and it's like put aside your current character and take this new playbook. So this is what they are now.
Yeah. Sorry, Ange, where's vampire?
It's much lower down.
Yeah, in classes.
Like hulls and ghosts
it's got
and whatnot.
Cutter, ghost, hound, hull, leech, lurk, slide, spider.
Yeah. They aren't base character. They aren't base character player playbooks. I mean,
Yeah.
He took it off. He's just took it off.
But they're not player options. They're just things if something bad happens to a character. I don't know what a hull is. It's in the rulebook, but I've not really read it.
A hull.
The bottom part of a boat.
Yeah.
I'm a sailor. I know these things.
So you're saying it's part of a cutter?
You could be, part of it.
Cool.
See what you did there.
The bottom
Very
part
clever.
of a cutter. Yeah.
Very clever. Right. Okay, so we're gonna have shadows. So who wants to see if we can do something with this character sheet for the crew? You should be able to see that, all of you.
Okay.
The crew. Now, I suppose the way you look at the crew.
Oh, we have to come up with
the
a
crew
name.
is kind of, we're going to come up with a name for the crew as well. Yes, the crew is described as maybe the central figure of the whole game, because it's a character in its own right. That's why it has its own character sheet. And you guys come and go, players or player characters come and go, but the crew, it will just keep going as long as there are people that are in it. Blood gets injected or whatever. So this is kind of the main character. So we want to spend a bit of time with this, I guess. And if you decide that we're going to go for a group of shadows, So, crew type. If I drag that in there. Okay. So this is going to be here's how your characters are known in Duskwall, and how the other factions in the city know you. So everybody considers you to be shadows. You're thieves, spies, and saboteurs, and they will employ you in that regard generally.
I mean that we're not very good, because if we were really good, we wouldn't know that we were spies and saboteurs, because...
I suppose
well, that's the trick. They think we're
nobody...
thieves, but we're actually spies.
Yeah, if nobody knows of your existence, then nobody can employ you.
That's it.
Unless, you know...
Well, all anyone knows is that
like Los Angeles Underground. That's Soldiers of Fortune.
Yeah.
And
well, all they know is they talk to us, we talk to some other people, and stuff blows up mysteriously.
Yeah.
Or things blow up.
Or things kind of appear, you know, that you're able to present them with information or whatever it is.
We have ways of getting into places.
Yeah.
And back out of them.
We'd have like a middleman. We wouldn't deal with someone directly.
Yeah.
Unless you're particularly brash.
Maybe the middleman is Angie's character. Who knows?
The middle
person. Part of the crew. It's kind of a bit tricky, but
I mean, it doesn't matter too much. I mean, sometimes they don't like if they dealt with every single person in the crew, like so they knew who everyone was. That would be more problematic.
I guess.
So, what could possibly go wrong?
Now, the crew begins with 2 coin in its coffers.
2 coin.
2 coin. Now, this is the remains of your savings, apparently. And you are tier 0, and you have a strong hold on your territory.
Yeah.
And you have 0 reputation to start with.
You know where our territory will be?
Now we get to choose that.
Do we?
Do.
I like Tangletown. But
isn't that neutral though, Tangletown?
That's neutral, isn't it?
It is neutral.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's a bit unfair. No, let's not go there then. But Tangletown is cool.
Tangletown is cool.
Is that there?
Yeah. So at the moment, your initial we're going to decide what your initial reputation is and what your lair is. The crew also earns experience points, like the characters do. By kind of bolstering the crew's reputation, you will get experience points. Now, this reputation is kind of, I suppose, it's a little bit vague, and we get to kind of decide really what that is. But the choices here are going to be ambitious. Brutal, daring, honourable, professional, savvy, subtle, or strange. There's a lot more showing in the crew reputation sheet here, actually, which is a bit weird. But let's go with the ones that are going in the book first. So we have ambitious, brutal. Daring.
What's this under?
Honourable.
Reputations.
Reputation of your crew.
People are obsessed with bees today.
Strange. Strange might be a possibility, given
yeah.
Or if we're what did you say about shadows?
Subtle.
We're never subtle.
Or professional or honourable.
But we're supposed to be.
Professional might be good.
I mean, that's. I think professional is kind of a weird one because it's like surely that's kind of the idea to begin with.
Well, we could be a bunch of. We could be
a bunch of no hopers, I guess.
Yeah,
They have a
yeah.
reputation for being.
No, because I'm going to dress all fine.
No, we get to kind of decide what that means as well, to a degree.
We get it done.
Yeah. Yeah.
We don't let people down. We have a code, I guess.
That's right. You don't. Once you take on a contract, you don't renege on it. I guess that kind of thing, isn't it? Renege on your contract.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. What do we think, folks?
I think that's.
Professional.
Yeah.
I'd like to do that because I'm not.
We're trying to make a name for ourselves.
I mean, I'm going to come from a street urchin and I dress like a professional. I like to give that image of it. How I'm going to do. That's how I'm going to play the character.
Yeah.
What do you think, Josh?
If you're not doing it right, what's the point of doing it?
Ah, okay. Professional. Okay, so that was pretty easy, wasn't it?
Hey, blowing through it.
Who wants to drag that? See if you can drag that.
There you
across.
go.
Cool, nice one. Okay, so your lair. Where could this be? What kind of thing would it be? They've got some examples here. You're a tier 0 crew, so it says your lair is probably very modest or kind of an abandoned kind of place. So there's suggestions here. It could be like a half-sunken grotto in the city's maze-like underground canals, an abandoned watchtower atop an ancient crumbling wall, at the unassuming back rooms of a merchant's shop, a small abandoned house at the end of a dark lane, a rickety tin-roofed shack perched on a rooftop, a junked rail car rusted in place on its old overgrown tracks. And they're quite evocative. Anybody got any suggestions as to what your lair might actually be?
Because I was wondering, for the the Whisper could do the thing where you can go through like the doors that exist only in the
ghost
thing.
Yeah.
Does that only work for him, or can he lead other people through them?
I think we've had it so that he's led. You could lead other people.
because I took them.
Yeah, because I was thinking that could be quite cool for a secret entrance, because you could have maybe one of these dilapidated buildings, so we can still pick whichever one we want. It's just that it's been because of if it's that sort of crammed Victorian old English style.
Suppose the only issue
it's been blocked in, and then you can just
would be they would need you there to be able to guide them in every time.
Yeah, that's how I keep myself
unless it's a hideout within a hideout, as it were.
Yeah.
That
or
we
could
are based
be a
in
back door, maybe.
Broken down building,
yeah.
But we don't keep anything there. All of our plans and all of our real loot we keep in the Whisper Room, in the Ghost Field. But outside, it looks like we're a much smaller.
Well, not in it. It'd just be that there's a door that used to exist. To
the
issue
being
but
is
now
that you need your Whisper there whenever you need to get that stuff. Anything happened to your Whisper, you can't get it.
Maybe you could keep the ghost door idea as just it's our escape, an escape.
That's kind of a cool idea.
Like
that. Yeah, that's quite a cool idea, isn't it?
I was imagining something like Jessica Jones's office, like a really shitty, rundown place with a broken door and and just kind of professional, but just terrible.
Yeah. It would be.
Yeah. I kind of like the idea as well of the towers and Gothic architecture stuff. You could have it I like
the idea of the watchtower.
Yeah,
an abandoned
you could have to make it a bit more Gothic. You could have just one of those sort of an abandoned cathedral tower or something. I don't know.
Or an abandoned lighthouse.
Or a lighthouse. I mean, it's there is a harbour.
There is. An abandoned lighthouse. Well, I mean, I guess we can make it whatever we want, right?
Well, maybe it is just an old fort, and because they see strange lights at night, they assume it's a haunted lighthouse or something. I don't know.
It doesn't necessarily have to be an abandoned lighthouse. Nobody comes to check on a lighthouse keeper.
That's
our cover.
I mean, very occasionally they do send through replacements.
Murdered the lighthouse keeper and have taken on. Lighthouse for yourself. Okay.
But
So
we can maintain the lighthouse.
Yeah, I don't.
Is it an outbuilding in the lighthouse rather than the actual tower
remember,
itself?
it's supposed to be modest. Remember,
Modest.
because you are tier 0.
Yeah.
I think a whole lighthouse is probably.
Could it be an outbuilding?
They have built. Oh my god. I don't know. It's hard to be supposed to be
our
professionals.
ultimate aim to get up the tiers is to own the whole lighthouse.
Yeah, if we're going to be professionals, we need something that's at least dramatic, if not completely destroyed.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're like, oh, where's your base? There's possibly not that red and white striped building over there on the edge of town.
Yeah.
Apparently all the sea moved, and now it's no longer relevant.
Well,
Nobody
that's kind of
expects it.
interesting. Yeah. So, is that what we're going with? We're going with some kind of
Outbuilding.
an outbuilding attached to the lighthouse.
Oh no,
Or,
not the lighthouse.
It's it's the towers. Is there some sort of? Is there a tower? One of these big ghost field tower generator things, and then some buildings around it. Oh, what happened there?
Because I think they're like big Tesla coil sort of things. Like,
Yeah.
The field. I mean, the thing as well you have as well is that like all the city that would have been outside of the ghost field has kind of probably fallen to ruin. So you could have stuff that's collapsed into the field, like buildings wise. So it's got like you just have,
I mean,
like,
the barrier kind of encircles the city. There are kind of.
So it's more of a ghost.
I mean, there is an area called the Lost District that is kind of was once part of the city, but the barriers don't extend that far. But that kind of makes things tricky for people to operate. It's not a great place to be. Outside of the barrier is a pretty bad place to be.
I was thinking you can have like bits where like those sort of old abandoned buildings just they fell through the field into the. So you can like you just have like a collapsed tower or building that like the top floors are like inside the field, but like they're paying to get to clear out or whatever, I guess.
So there's a lot of docks. There's a lot of docks in the area. That means a huge amount. Everything covers the sea.
The docks are the main area of the docks being here.
So, would it be possible to have something down by the docks at the bottom of a tower, like a tower block, a tower apartment, or something that's dilapidated?
I don't see why not.
Because we're going to start off modestly.
Yeah.
We can aspire. Aspire to these things.
Yeah. Well, you could just have like a section of an old warehouse or something that you've basically kind of holed up in perhaps some abandoned warehouse somewhere in the docks that there's like you kind of have the offices that are kind of
up.
Let's go to Daggertown, Puckroy on Whiskey Street.
What about underneath one of these bridges, maybe?
Wong says an old dock building.
Yeah.
Old dock buildings.
Okay, let's go for an old dock building then.
Like an old warehouse or something. And I think that perhaps it's kind of fallen into disrepair.
Crab Street.
Maybe. Crab Street.
Okay, we've got Wormhill Way.
Prill Close.
Skipper Lane.
I can't quite read because of the resolution. Is it like Sharky? Is that Sharky Goth Alley?
Sharktooth Alley. Let's do Sharktooth Alley.
Yeah, next to Pike Court. Prill Close. I was really hoping it was Sharky Goth, but sadly not.
Get Photoshop out, we'll be fine.
Haddock Road, no. Wormhill Way, no. Sharktooth, let's do Sharktooth.
Okay, so I mean, we can worry about the location at another time.
Oh no, it's quite important to us. That
we just need to kind of consider what it actually is. It's the real deal. Yeah, you got to decide. Is it is it like an abandoned warehouse? Is it like some abandoned house in an alleyway, some like an old fisherman's cottage or something like that, or But it's going to be in the docks, right? Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, Dockland.
Oh, got maps changed.
Let's jump across.
It's gone dark.
What did Bong say? An old dock building, so it's like an old
Who's
warehouse
Perez?
then.
I can read the name.
There you go.
Can we go
Oh,
for
Just for you,
Storage
just for you, Lloyd.
You could go symbolism and you could get bottom feeder park.
Move away, we're moving up in the world.
Yeah. All these maps, by the way, are from, I think it's Black Dog Publishing, that have produced all these maps for the city,
awesome.
and they are fantastic.
We're going for an old dock building then. Bong decided.
Yeah, I think I'm feeling that too. So perhaps it's like an old shed where perhaps fishermen kept nets or something.
Yeah.
Something
Okay.
like that, maybe.
Yeah, sounds good.
Or an old boathouse or something. So we can stick that into the crew sheet if anybody wants to type it in. We can worry about exactly where it is at another time. She's professional. But it's going to be based in the docks.
Two gold.
You do, yeah.
Professional.
Okay. Now we get to choose now. It says we establish out your hunting grounds. So which part of Duskwall, and it doesn't have to be the same district or part of the district that your lair is in. It could be across the city. That could be your hunting grounds. But what this will decide is whoever controls that district. You're going to end up with some kind of reputation with them, like whether or not they tolerate you, or whether they try to get rid of you, or whether you you may have paid them like a small amount of money to allow you to operate in that area, for example. But you kind of decide what kind of area that is. The shadows.
I think we would try to target one of the more affluent areas, maybe. We're trying to be professional.
Yeah, I like that. That sounds kind of cool.
So one of the more sort of so like
Sort of.
go with this image of like being dressed up and everything, so I can infiltrate those areas.
Yeah.
I think we'd go after the money.
Right.
So you kind of want to go like outside of your hunting. You want the hunting ground to be not where you're staying.
Yeah. You don't shit on your own doorstep.
Yeah.
Just what made it do.
So, in terms of affluent areas, if that's actually where you want it to be, you have places like Brightstone. Now I've opened up a little journal tab there, which will give you a little bit of info about some of these areas. Brightstone is home to the wealthiest, most influential citizens of Duskwall. In terms of where it is on the big map of things.
We wanted to actually choose the area.
Where your hunting grounds are, yeah.
Hunting
Brightstone
grounds.
is kind of over here.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that one works. So it's like next door-ish.
Yeah.
The Pearl. That's quite a good place to rub.
Yeah, so Brightstone, its streets are broad, paved under bright electric lights. Its canals are sparkling and clean with perfumed water, my goodness.
Perfumed water.
All the houses are fine, pale marble blocks, rich timbers, intricate ironworks. There are cultivated parks fed by radiant energy, lavish restaurants and cafes, jewelers, tailors and other luxury shops. There are no street side vendors allowed here. So the area is a serene, spacious atmosphere, punctuated by occasional carriage or marching blue coat patrol. Blue coats, for chat's sake, are the equivalent of the local constabulary. They are the police force of Duskwall, but they are notoriously corrupt and cruel, and are actually classed as a gang themselves in the city.
They can be bought.
They can be bought. And it could be that you're paying off the blue coats to operate here in this area as well, because I don't think there's a huge amount of criminality in it's high wealth. Criminal influence is 0 in Brightstone. It says here most engagement roles, which we will deal with at another time, because there's a lot of blue coat patrols here. You suffer a -1D. You are conducting any operations against nobility, or any engagement role here. When you're carrying out any enemy criminal activity.
Hard mode, I like it.
And any operations against the nobility, you are considered on hostile turf for the purposes of gaining heat. Heat is another statistic that gangs accrue, and it's basically how known they are to the authorities.
And it's not good to have heat.
And it's
unless you play like we do.
At some point, you get so much heat that the only way that you can reduce it is by sending one of the player characters to prison, to Iron Hook jail. So whether or not this is a great place to start, I don't know.
It's hard mode, isn't it?
It's fucking hard mode, I guess. But you'll have that if you want to work in a rich area. If you want to work in a rich area, that's
mediocre. Then next one down.
The old quarter. So like Charter Wall, Old Quarter, or whatever the area is called.
Charter Hall is where the Charter Hall University is based, and they are.
Okay.
That's the oldest part of the city.
Yeah, because I know they got the City Watch headquarters, but maybe it's a bit less.
Let's have a look. It's pretty much the same as Brightstone.
Okay. So what about maybe the other area that's just the Rookery and like the Devil's Furnace, those kind of areas?
That's...
I guess it's probably a bit more industrial.
Rosefoot is the most highly criminal area in the entire city. There are more gangs per square yard.
That's where we were based, wasn't it?
Crowsfoot. Yeah, Crowsfoot's it's kind of a cool
campaign.
place. Yeah, it's pretty much the de facto starting place for most Blaze in the Dark campaigns, the very first campaigns that people do. There are a bunch of warring factions in Crowsfoot, and they're both recruiting small gangs to their side. So it is a good place to start if you wanted to. Yeah. We can make our way through that again if you guys wanted to.
I'd quite like
to
try something a wee bit different if that was okay.
That's absolutely fine.
What's in the ease at the Silk Shore?
Silk Shore.
Bridges.
Lots of bridges.
Lots and lots of bridges.
It's like someone told Dennis and was like, hold my beer.
This is good. Yeah.
Is it
so
easy?
Silk Shore is not as wealthy, and it's not as secure, but the criminal influence is quite high here, scoring a 3 out of 4 in criminal influence. This is not going to be a bad place to start.
So it's like a step down from the crazy criminal area.
Yeah. There are a couple of interesting things that's mechanics that occur in some of these areas, like with Silk Shore, if you overindulge your vice while you are there, you get a taste for it and take a +1D to your roll next time you indulge your vice. Now that's probably a bad thing, because you're more likely to overindulge in your vice. And although that may relieve stress, it does cause complications for the crew. But that could be entertaining, right?
Mm-hmm. Love it.
This looks like a very nice place to get around in a riverboat as well. And
yes,
be very
lots
close
of canals.
to our base in the docks.
Yeah.
Quick way in and out.
That's a good point. So, shall we take a look at Silkshore? Yeah, there's like a crazy like fairground type thing, I guess, the Spark Grounds. That's what that is, almost.
Cool.
Circus type thing going on.
Okay,
yeah,
there's one building outside the fence. We could make that our headquarters.
I think that's
Floating
definitely
gardens.
Floating gardens. Oh, that's a good point. It can be anything we want it to be.
Cool. Bridge of Ecstasy.
Ecstasy.
This feels like a cool area. This is going to be a hunting ground. I
Yeah,
think I'd rather
I
live
think
in
you
this
can-
area, but
I like the Bridge of Whimsy.
Always
It's just where you daydream.
Yeah, so what does it say about Silkshore? Crisscrossed by dozens of narrow canals, it's a district best navigated by gondola.
That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah, as most visitors to this... Oh, it's a red light district.
There is a bridge of red
brothels, vice dens, food stalls, exotic shops all perch at the waterside, ready to satisfy the appetites of their clientele. No questions asked.
Bong likes this area.
Yeah, I think that sounds like a cool place to be.
Yeah.
A place of public indulgence and private indelicacy.
Yeah,
Catering to every pleasure imaginable. Yes.
Sounds good.
So you can choose a particular area around here that we're going to use. It's going to be a small, couple of blocks, I guess, that you might have as your hunting grounds.
Cool. That sounds good.
Yeah, but it's going to be Silkshore, right?
Yeah, I mean, what we could do is we could do like the top right sort of areas, because then we could have like a little boat that takes us back to the docks.
Yeah.
And then you can row across and then straight into the little gondola ways.
No,
Yeah,
but if we
but
do
the
something
water
more...
Is the main group in Silk?
I need to look that up. Yeah.
I'm just thinking if we do something closer to the bridge, it's going to look more like we fled on the bridge rather than fleeing by boat. If we keep targeting crimes in this corner, it's going to be very logical that we're fleeing by boat, and it's fairly easy to spot a boat going a different way to all the other boats.
I mean, it depends on how many boats go back and forth. That's the thing.
And to be fair, the boats go very slow.
And one of the things
A
that
lot
I
of
love,
cleaning boats.
one of the things I love about Blades in the Dark is that we don't get paralysis by planning in this game.
No.
We don't have a planning stage. There isn't a stage where we all sit down and go, right, we're going to do this, then we're going to do that, then we're going to do this, then we're going to do that. We just do it.
And then we deal
you're not
with
allowed to plan.
we deal with it.
No one in your last criminal enterprise blew up.
Yeah, you don't plan it. You just say, right, we're going to go. They've got a job. We've got to go and do it.
Yep.
And
You just decide.
We
on
decide
the
what the job is
then,
as
decide
well.
what you're taking, and then you just go, and then you just
and
do it.
You deal with the planning in what's known as flashbacks.
Yeah.
Where if you run into an obstacle, you can deal with it in a flashback. So you prepared for this, you take stress, and then you narrate how it was that you have circumvented this issue already. You've dealt with it.
It's brilliant.
And that problem goes away.
Love this game. Love this game. Love it.
Yeah.
Sounds complicated, that, but it's not, is it? When you're actually doing it,
it's nice.
you don't always use the flashbacks. You just
No, you don't have to.
you just come up with a problem, and you just have to get around it somehow.
Just be more
By doing
creative.
things
Yeah.
like blowing them places up, or
Yeah. Or setting ghosts on them.
Or setting ghosts on
I
them.
had so much fun setting the ghosts on people. Boyd, you're gonna love it when you let a ghost out on people.
Well, we'll see how it
Okay.
goes. I'd rather use it as like a last resort.
Oh no, it's the first with me. It was sending the ghost.
You decide where your hunting grounds are. This is an area you usually target for your scores. and you know it well. It's a little bit different, I think, for you guys in that regard, and we may need to look into that. But there are certain advantages to working in your hunting grounds. You get like bonuses to if you're needing to hide or hide out in a particular area.
Yeah.
You know you're hunting because you know your hunting grounds so well. It just means that you get bonuses in advance from working within that area. And as you progress in tier, your hunting grounds will get larger. It's kind of how that will work with that progression. However, Silkshore is there is a larger gang that controls the area that you are working in, and we have yet to decide who that is. But because they kind of run this area, a couple of things that you will need to do. You either you pay them off and you spend one of the coin that you have in your coffers to allow yourselves to work in this area. You can pay them 2 coin as a show of respect, and you will gain +1 status with them, because you will gain or lose status with certain groups as you go through the game. And that will affect. They will, depending on the level of reputation you have, it can scale to that they will try and hinder all of your operations, to outright war on the streets with you guys.
Because we didn't want to hinder our operations.
Or they will offer you certain advantages and benefits working with them.
Yeah.
But they expect the same from you, and they expect you to help them whenever they want your help.
My experience of coin is that we sometimes found ourselves with too much and we couldn't store it, and we didn't spend it, like, because we didn't want to spend it, but because we just accrued it reasonably. Not easy. It was never easy, but through negotiation and through completing scores, and we didn't. I didn't think it was.
The problem is, I think you initially think you've only got 4 coin, and so you think it's not a lot. So, but
yeah, I mean, in just for chat's benefit as well, coin here, when somebody says that something is X amount of coin, it's not like that's gold coins in D&D or anything like that. A coin is the equivalent of basically a month's salary, if you like, a briefcase full of money potentially. That's 1 coin. That's what it's worth. It's just an abstract way of kind of keeping track of that.
Yeah.
Without having to go into the minutiae of how much money you have on you.
Yeah. I would advocate buying off and spending our 2 coin on flattering and distinguishing ourselves from above the riffraff of the Silkshore area.
Of course, professionals.
Yeah, I mean that kind of makes sense, I guess. Do you have a different opinion, Lloyd?
No, I think it works.
Yeah. So we will decide who it is, or we'll find out who actually it is you're going to be paying off here. But you intend to spend your 2 coin to gain +1 status with them, so they will favour you.
Earn some back quick then.
And you'll earn it pretty quick. Yeah. I'm going to choose a special ability for your gang.
Ooh.
Ooh.
You automatically get certain things by being shadows.
Veteran. 3 seconds.
These kind of so you actually start with 2 upgrades, and your upgrades are you start with training in prowess, which means that you can increase as you gain experience. You can then increase your. At the moment, you're locked at 2 dots for your special abilities. You can't go higher than that. Having prowess training means you can go up to 3. in prowess. Any of those actions that are listed under prowess. Does that make sense?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Look at your character
It
sheet.
does.
But it
This is
doesn't
great
matter what goes
because
in
Ange
there.
has played it before. So if you open up your character sheet, you can see under prowess you have the actions finesse, prowl, skirmish, and wreck. And if you get to increase those to up to, you can potentially go up to 3 points with each of those actions, as opposed to 2 you are currently stuck at, as you earn experience points. Yeah.
Okay, let's just we'll do that on the fly when we're doing it.
Because that's one that we get anyway, just by dint of being shadows.
Just by being, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll find that word. Training prowess. We get that.
Yeah.
Okay, and you also get your lair is hidden.
Hidden lair.
Yes. So your lair is a secret location and is disguised to hide it from view. If your lair is discovered, you can use 2 downtime activities and pay coin equal to your tier to relocate it and hide it once again.
Cool. That's pretty handy.
Yeah.
That'll get the scuffers. That'll get the scuffers away from us.
Scuffers. That was great. Yeah. So we're going to look at your special ability as a crew.
Lloyd's playing Flappy Birds at the moment with his mouse.
Just exploring all the words.
Crew special abilities. Crew abilities. So you can see a bunch of them there that are listed for shadows, like everyone steals, which either each PC may add +1 action rating to prowl, finesse, or tinker, up to maximum of 3. All of you get that. Ghost echoes. From weird experience or occult ritual, all crew members gain the ability to see and interact with ghostly structures, streets, and objects within the echo of Duskwall that exists. Now that would work if you were talking about that lair thing that you're on about, wouldn't
and Lloyd's secret door.
Mm.
Yeah, that would work. Ghost echoes would.
That's
That'd
cool.
be nice if we could. Yeah.
Your lair is a jumble of stolen items. When you roll to acquire an asset, you get to roll an extra dice. Now that is potentially, we've never really did any of that. We played before, acquiring assets. You can use downtime activities to acquire assets that will be useful to you in some way. And with that one, you get an extra dice, a bonus dice, to acquire those assets. You could have a patron. When you advance in tier, it costs half the coin it normally would. But you have to specify who this patron is and why do they help you.
I don't think that would work for us, the patron.
No? Second story, when you execute a clandestine infiltration, you get a +1d to the engagement roll. The engagement roll sets what the starting position for you guys would be. If you screw up the engagement roll, it means that every roll that you make at the start becomes a desperate action, and which is great in some way. You get XP for doing desperate actions, but it does mean that when you make a roll and the action is desperate, when things go wrong, they go very badly wrong. Whether it be any damage that you take initially,
Heat and all sorts, isn't it?
a desperate action is going to fuck you up immensely.
And you have to try and then reverse it somehow.
The engagement, so the second story thing gives you a plus on your engagement rolls, but only when you're conducting some kind of clandestine infiltration, which as a group of shadows is going to be quite often, I guess.
Which one's that?
Second story, that is.
How many of these do we pick?
You've got to choose one.
Oh.
Slippery is another one. When you roll entanglements, roll twice and keep the one you want. When you reduce heat on the crew, you take 1 extra dice to reduce heat. And as you recall in the previous,
story or ghost?
yeah, the previous campaign that we had, heat became a very, very big deal for you guys at one point.
We got a lot of
not
heat.
very subtle.
Yeah, it was most encounters didn't go according to plan.
Mm-hmm.
And not always because we rolled badly. It was we just made.
Quite frequently, it's because you rolled badly.
But also, we made bad decisions sometimes.
There was no such thing as a bad decision.
No, we were on top of that building top, and we were trying to be undercover. And my character jumped down into the middle of it, or somebody's character jumped down into the middle of it. We weren't even supposed to be there, and we were supposed to be stealthy and hidden and observing. Yeah.
So you jumped in and battered everyone.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That was a bad decision.
Your last option then is synchronized. When you perform a group action, you may count multiple sixes from different rolls as a critical success. Now that is quite cool if you were using somebody leads a group action.
Can we have Ghost?
That sounds quite powerful.
And the second story, please.
You can't have them both. You got to choose one.
I chose 3.
Or you can choose veteran, and you can choose a special ability from any other crew type. Which is probably too much to go through right now. Ho, ho, ho.
Okay, if anyone is in the chat listening right now, which one do you want us to go for?
They don't know what half of them
Ghost
are.
Echoes.
Yeah, I mean, Ghost
Second
Echoes
story.
just means you don't have to need my character around for the escape route.
That's true.
Okay,
I mean, the thing is, the thing is, because we made that the escape route, if we made it like the original idea of having like a strong room that you could only get in through the ghost field, then like Ghost Echoes would make sense. But it also gives us options in missions, being like,
I think it's cool. I like it.
Does the ghost field give us like extra routes and stuff?
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah, if it's in our original plan, and explain where our is hidden as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we're going with Ghost. What's it?
Yeah.
Ghost Echoes.
Okay. Ghost Echoes.
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 I mean, that ability is that only for our lair, or does that extend outside the lair as well? Like in general?
It's I think it's just you can see it any of them in Dustfall.
Cool, because that could give us lots of different escape routes as well in like our hunting zones.
It could. It could be why you guys have got this reputation of being professional breaking and entering places, because you can see and get into places that nobody else can.
It's like the thing of assassinating someone in a locked room kind of deal.
Yeah, all of that.
Nice.
Yeah. Right. What else do we get here? I'm trying to think. We get to choose a grade, I think. Yeah. You get 2 additional upgrades for your new crew.
Ooh.
At the moment we have hidden lair and training prowess. You get to choose 2 more upgrades for the crew. And the crew upgrades thing there. For shadows, get things like steady. Each PC gets an extra stress box. Actually, that's a good point. I wonder if that actually works on this sheet. I don't know if it does. I'm guessing not. So please don't choose that.
That sounds great.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? It would be fantastic. I just don't know if it works or not.
I like the option of boathouse.
Actually, yeah.
You have a boat.
In fact, I think one of the other thing is you can have something to do with a mobile. The lair is mobile, so it could actually be a boat.
Don't confuse things. We've already decided on that.
Have we?
Yeah. So, what we got? Each piece. I'm just gonna try something here. It does not work. The steady thing doesn't give you an extra stress box. So, don't choose that one.
Okay.
Just ignore the first bit of stress you get in every session.
Forget that. I need to mention that to the guy that's created the sheet, I guess. What else we got? Elite Rooks. What's this? All of your cohorts with the Rooks type get 1d to quality rolls.
I think you have to take a cohort as an upgrade.
You do
have an actual cohort that can benefit from that. So at the moment,
any of those that are considered Rooks get a plus 1d to their quality rolls. So that is basically means they will just be more effective when you tell them to do specific things, or you can give your cohort objectives, like order them to go and do something for you, and they will get an extra dice on their quality when they make quality rolls, but only for Rook related actions. And the same for Skulks as well, whatever they are. We need to look into that. Thief rigging. 2 free loads worth of tools or gear items.
I mean, it depends how much gear you tend to take with, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, probably more is always better.
So if you decide on it when you do a score that you're taking a light load, that means you can carry 3 items. Effectively. There are a couple of items that are free anyway. But most of the time you are limited by the amount of items that you could.
You don't have to say what the items are until you go to use them.
You don't specify what they are until you use them in Blades. Yeah, it's a bit like the planning.
You can suddenly get somewhere and then go, "Oh, I need a gun."
We needed a grappling hook. Lucky, I just brought one, and then you cross one of your load boxes off. To say that you had the grappling hook all along. You get 2 free loads worth of tools or gear items if you take the thief rigging. If you have a light load, you have 5 items, I guess. Underground maps and pass keys. That's an interesting one.
Oh, that would be good for us.
You have easy passage through the underground canals, tunnels, and basements of the city. That's quite a handy one.
It gives us even more options for getting around.
Definitely. Go with that.
I'd
that just fits with us straight away, doesn't it?
Underground maps and boathouse, based on what we were discussing before.
You still have one more upgrade that you can select for your crew, and it can also be things like extra training, I guess. Like you've already got prowess training, but you could have like resolve or insight training to enable you to increase those skills when you needed to. Or what was that first one? It was
Because I mean, if you take the boathouse as well, then we've got literally every route, like any way we want to get around, in or out or around the city is like covered.
Is that one of them, the boathouse?
Because
you can upgrade.
You can scroll down the bottom. There's a bunch of generic ones, I think.
Yeah.
It like adds a little boat dock and storage area for the lair.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I'm good with that.
Cray, what do you reckon?
I'm happy. Absolutely. Let's do it.
Boy just wants to play.
I think it just fits with it sort of fits with what we've been doing.
It does. It does. It works well.
Okay, so when you assign these 2 upgrades, we'll have to do this off stream because I need to check to see which crews are operating in Silkshore, but one of them helped you get the upgrade and they like you and you get a +1 status with them. Another one was screwed over by you when you got the upgrade.
Damn it.
They don't like you. And so we need to work out who they are and what the deal is with that.
You should put that on our sheet and then surprise us.
It's like we did basically the one group helped us steal a boat from the Gondolas Guild. The Gondoliers Guild.
Gondoliers. Holy shit! Yeah.
Don't tell us until we walk into a bar and then you go, oh, by the way, these hate you.
These guys hate you.
Because
Everybody in the bar hates you. We all just stand behind and cry.
It's like, did we know this ahead of time? In which case, we didn't walk in there in the first place. Yeah, flashback where I went to a different pub.
I offended somebody else.
Yeah.
Okay. Elite Rooks. Right. I think we're pretty much done for now.
one quick question. I noticed on the new character sheet, don't have the listings.
You need to speak up, Ange.
Don't have the listings for strange friends, acquaintances, and enemies.
That's what I say. We're going to have to add those in manually into the notes tab or something on here. There's an option for them, but we can do that.
Yeah.
Perhaps we could get together before. Is it next Saturday we're playing this?
Again? Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Is it the week after we're doing
as it goes with Blades in the Dark, this isn't something you have to you don't have to majorly plan it, do you? Because it's like we make our own game on this. This is the thing, isn't it? We don't. You're not going to have to write any.
I'm not going to make a story up. You guys.
No, yeah. This is it's like we're going to make this story up. So it's like. So when you have strange friends or you make anything up about your backstory or stuff like that, I mean, it's like the only thing I struggle is once we start going with it.
Evening.
The story went along, didn't it? The story went along when we did it ourselves. So you introduced a character and then we ran down that thing with it and it evolved itself. It's that starting point. Are you going to give us like a job to start off with?
I mean, we can do that.
No, Croy says no.
There can be a starting situation. There will be, in fact, a starting situation to a degree, because it will always start off with there are some factions that are pissed off and are going to be wanting.
But it's up to us to decide how we navigate around
maybe before next week, then we can work a little bit on our character backstories in our channel. We can work the integration out between us. We can put that in so that when we start next week, we can do a remember when Croy did that talkie thing? Maybe something like that.
A talkie thing.
Yeah.
You remember doing a talkie thing, Croy?
You arrive at the town of Ostenwald.
That's it. The one. So yeah.
There's just not enough talky things in these role-playing game malarkeys.
My goodness, it's all just too much.
It is really weird. It is weird, and it's weird and so much fun because you can literally do what you want.
We can.
Yeah, and in terms of the way the game works, rather than looking at your sheet and thinking, I'm good at this, I'm going to do that, you just describe what it is your character is going to do. Then we decide afterwards what ability you're doing to achieve that, or what action you're using to achieve that.
It's almost like you justify it with that, don't you?
Then, as a GM, I'm supposed to set the position and the effect of whatever it is you're doing. Position will be anything from controlled, which means that the situation, everything is in your favor. You're in somewhere you know well, for example. You know exactly where everything is. The situation is controlled. You have complete control of that situation. It could be risky, which means that if something goes wrong, what did I say? Controlled risky, which means that there is an element of danger involved with what you're doing. If it goes wrong, then your situation will get worse, or you will or you can end up taking harm. And then the next level up is desperate. When you get to a desperate action, that means that there's a high likelihood that if you fail, something really, really bad is going to happen to your character, whether he's going to take a whole load of damage, or whether he's going to get arrested, or whatever it is. That's the level that's the position that we're talking about. And then we have the other thing, the effect. And the effect can be limited, which means that what you are doing is not going to have a great effect. It's not going to have a drastic effect on the outcome of what's happening, what you're doing. And you have a standard effect, which means that you're basically going to achieve everything that you set out to do. That's just the default position, a default effect. And then you have rate. Means that I suppose the description of how it describes it. Say you are firing a cannon at a ship. The effect of that is going to be standard, because that's what cannons are for. They fire at ships, they damage ships. If you fire a cannon at a person, the effect is going to be great, because people are not ships.
Waste of cannonballs.
Yeah. But that's the kind of thing we're talking about.
But equally, if you then do that and you kill that person, you have to get out of that area pretty smartish.
Well, you're taking the cannon thing a little too literally there, Ange.
Yeah, but you do, don't you? If you kill somebody, you have to move quick.
There are issues with killing people. If you kill somebody, then what happens then is that a crow is dispatched from Bellwether Crematorium, where it will attempt to locate the body, and it will circle it and bring the Spirit Wardens to it so they can dispose of the body before a ghost comes out. And the Spirit Wardens are tough, and you don't want to mess with them. Or maybe you do.
No.
Fun, wouldn't it?
No.
Can I train to become a Spirit Warden?
I don't know. Maybe you were one once.
I think if we cover pretty much everything, does any Bong? Do you get it?
I mean, yeah.
Wait
it's
till
one of
we
these
play
things.
it.
I think, yeah. Once you play it, it's kind of it falls into place a little bit easier.
A good old Andy who has been in the background the whole night and doing stuff, admin stuff. I've been watching him. He's doing admin stuff for the channel. He probably hasn't got a clue.
Yeah. There are issues with killing people, just like real life.
It is, yeah. You can kill them, but it's
Yes. Still.
So, guys,
It could be interesting. Yeah.
it sounds like
call it
we've.
there, and
I think we'll call it there. Yeah, it sounds like we've got
Yeah,
ourselves
we can-
a successful session 0.
Yeah, I think we've got a bit of an idea as to where we're going.
yeah, we have a crew, we have characters,
We've got a
we have a
base.
house, so a lair, and we have an area that we hunt in.
Nice. Well, thanks
Yeah.
very much.
Or make some money.
Yeah.
Let's see what we can do with that.
Oh, thank you for the follow. And we have somebody who actually likes us this time, because last time nobody liked us.
Oh, our last crew was very unpopular.
So just a quick question: if they like us, if they like us, do we like them? Do we trust each other, or is it just sort of like, yeah, you paid us some?
Until we
I
can
think it's
overthrow
one
them.
of those weird things, yeah. I mean, to get what you want, you might backstab them. I don't know. I mean, you might want to keep them on side for a while until you're a bit in your higher tier, maybe, and then you're going to stomp all over them to take their territory. That's the Chicago way.
Bush.
We're
So,
professional. We'll respect their power while we steal all their items.
Exactly. Yeah, while you undermine them. Yeah.
Cool.
Cool.
You do, right?
excellent. Thanks for the follow, Combustible Dan.
Yes, thank you.
Welcome.
Let's see where this shit takes us.
So yeah, we thought this was going to be a quick session. We were a bit late starting, but there you go. That's us. I think it's explaining the game is always heavy going, but at least we've got it now. We've got it on the VOD, so if everyone wants to know, they can go back and look at where we started.
And be just as confused.
It is a fantastic
were when
game,
you-
Dan. Absolutely. We played it before. We loved it. It was chaotic. It was just amazing.
Yeah, we're bringing
amazing.
three new players with us into this with us this time.
Infinity from the chat and Lloyd and Josh here are new to the game, so and I'm always new to every game every week because I don't remember anything. But there you go.
So
I played a few Powered by the Apocalypse games before, just not this one.
Yeah, I'd say this isn't actually a Powered by the Apocalypse game. It's kind of loosely based on one of those, but it is its own thing now, the Forged in the Dark type of games. And there are some similar games are using the same kind of arrangement, like Scum and Villainy. If you want to kind of play more Star Wars-y type game, that's kind of geared around your daring scoundrels being the crew of a little ship like Firefly or something like that. Or Star Wars. But there's a whole bunch of games out there that are all kind of based around this Forged in the Dark principle now.
Oh, cool.
Right then.
So, we're going to call it there tonight because I've got an early morning for once on a Saturday. And tomorrow we are back tomorrow night at 9 p.m. GMT because we have another fantastic game.
Mutants and Masterminds.
Mutants and Masterminds. Where
we are the worst superheroes as well.
We are going to be playing
criminals.
Superheroes.
Hey, there's room for plot development and character development as well.
We are phenomenally bad heroes.
I do not accept that.
Yeah,
I don't accept that.
Went to a room, punched the threat
Anti-heroes.
until the threat stopped. Makes perfect sense. Heroic.
Well, I was thinking I'll take the super thing. I'm not sure about the hero bit.
Yeah.
Not yet. Wait and
Not
see.
yet.
Find out tomorrow, guys. 9 o'clock.
But if you ever chance, go to the YouTube channel and check out the last game of the Mutants and Masterminds, because it was an interesting take on the word superheroes. So you can check it out.
Saved people.
Yeah, how we're going to pick up tomorrow, it will be interesting.
In a hearse, driving along.
Running away.
Running away in a hearse.
We're escaping a scene in a slow-moving hearse with a child in a concrete coffin.
Stone coffin.
In the back.
It can only go up.
I'm just thinking,
from there.
I'm glad I'm not GMing that. That's all I can say.
Me too. Right, I think on that bombshell, we're going to wrap it up. Thanks to everybody. Somewhat Pirate, thank you very much. Ange, Kadari, Lloyd, thank you so much. IMT, have a good one. We'll see you all tomorrow.
See you all tomorrow night.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.